a completely deserted fictional African village called Ndalama, at dawn. Traditional mud brick houses with thatched roofs, standing silently, abandoned cooking pots, and wooden stools outside the homes. Clothes hanging motionless, faint white mist covering the ground. An enormous, mysterious green and dark mountain dominating the distant horizon. No people anywhere, eerie silence, and supernatural mystery. Soft, golden sunrise, breaking through the mist. A vibrant, fictional African village called Ndalama, during a beautiful sunny day. Families peacefully performing daily activities. African women wearing colorful traditional dresses and intricate handmade beads. Children happily playing. Farmers working in the fields. Traditional mud brick houses with thatched roofs. Chickens and goats moving naturally to the village. A gigantic green mountain in the distance. Enormous ancient tree standing at the center of the community. At sunset, beneath a gigantic ancient African tree, elderly villagers sit together telling traditional stories to a circle of fascinated children. Mama Nia. Among the elders, children listening closely with wonder. Colorful, traditional African clothing and handmade bead jewelry. Small glowing fire nearby. Traditional village homes visible in the background. Golden orange sunset filtering through the enormous branches. Emotional connection between generations. A spectacular, authentic African cultural festival at night in Ndalama. Villagers dancing energetically around a huge traditional fire. Skilled drummers playing large African drums. Women wearing vibrant traditional dresses and intricate beadwork. Men dancing proudly in traditional clothing. Children celebrating happily. Elders watching with joyful expressions. Sparks rising from the fire toward a sky filled with stars. Mama Nia, an elderly African grandmother with dark brown skin, long gray braided hair and colorful layered bead necklaces, urgently holding the hand of Kato, a frightened, 12-year-old African boy with short black hair and expressive brown eyes. Mama Nia staring fearfully toward the enormous dark mountain while warning him, colorful festival lights glowing behind them, villagers blurred in the background. A huge African village festival, suddenly frozen in complete silence. Drummers sitting motionless beside their traditional drums, dancers standing completely still and staring toward the mysterious mountain. Frightened villagers gathered around the dying fire, children holding on to their parents. Dark clouds rapidly gathering above the mountain. Firelight illuminating terrified faces. Supernatural tension filling the atmosphere. A massive, mysterious African mountain at midnight. Its dark slopes disappearing into clouds. Faint, supernatural white mist glowing softly as it descends from the mountain toward the sleeping village below. Frightened villagers watching from windows and doorways. Moonlight illuminating traditional thatched homes and grasslands. Enormous ancient tree silhouetted against the night sky. Mysterious human footprints appearing one after another through thick white mist on the ground of Ndalama at night. Footprints leading directly away from the deserted village toward the enormous dark mountain. Traditional African homes faintly visible through the fog. Abandoned objects scattered nearby. Bright moonlight cutting through the mist. Inside a traditional African mud brick house at night. Frightened 12-year-old Kato stands beside a tiny wooden window, listening nervously to an unseen mysterious voice outside. Mama Nia, desperately holding his shoulder and silently warning him not to speak. At sunrise, 12-year-old Kato stands completely alone in the middle of a deserted Ndalama village, looking around in shock. Traditional homes completely empty. Untouched cooking pots and freshly prepared meals left behind. Clothes still hanging outside houses. Goats and chickens strangely remaining near homes. Overwhelming silence. Faint morning mist. Gigantic mysterious mountain towering behind the village. Golden sunrise illuminating the abandoned settlement. Kato, the 12-year-old African boy with short black hair and a small woven shoulder bag, walking alone through tall golden grass toward the enormous, mysterious mountain. Carefully following a long trail of strange footprints, wind blowing through the grass around him. Kato discovers a mysterious ancient cave hidden behind thick green vines on the lower side of the enormous African mountain. Gigantic stone entrance, covered with ancient African symbols and carvings. Kato standing before the entrance in complete awe. Sunlight filtering dramatically through surrounding trees and vines. Mysterious darkness inside the cave. Deep inside an ancient underground African cave, Kaito holds a small lantern while examining mysterious artifacts. Handmade clay pots, traditional drums, ancient African jewelry, ceremonial clothing, and carved objects scattered carefully around the chamber. Walls covered with ancient symbols and drawings, mysterious golden light reflecting across the stone walls, Kaito's face filled with curiosity and fear. An ancient cave wall, covered in mysterious hand-painted African symbols and drawings, the artwork clearly depicting generations of villagers disappearing into a gigantic mountain. Kaito standing directly in front of the wall, studying it with astonishment. Warm torchlight, illuminating the ancient artwork, realistic stone textures, dust floating through the air. Kaito stands in the foreground and suddenly sees Mama Nia standing mysteriously behind him in the cave entrance, her gray braided hair and colorful traditional beadwork illuminated by warm torchlight. Hundreds of missing villagers slowly emerging from the shadows behind her, families reunited, emotional expressions of relief and surprise. Ancient cave walls surrounding them. A large group of African villagers gathered deep inside the ancient mountain cave for a sacred cultural ceremony. Elders standing proudly before families, children and parents listening respectfully. Traditional African clothing and colorful handmade beadwork. Ceremonial drums arranged around the chamber. Glowing fires illuminating ancient cave walls covered with ancestral symbols. Powerful atmosphere of heritage, tradition, and ancestral connection. Mama Nia gently handing an ancient, beautiful beaded necklace to her 12-year-old grandson, Kaito. The necklace made from intricate handmade African beads, with a tiny hidden compartment. Mama Nia's weathered hands and Kaito's young hands clearly visible. Warm golden cave light reflecting from the beads. Emotional expressions on their faces. Ancient cave softly blurred behind them. Kaito carefully opening the tiny hidden compartment inside the ancient beaded necklace and discovering a small folded piece of old parchment. His expressive brown eyes widening with surprise and emotion. Intricate beads and aged parchment, sharply detailed. Warm candlelight illuminating his hands. Mysterious, ancient cave softly blurred in the background. Kaito standing beside Mama Nia deep inside the ancient cave, both looking at walls covered with drawings showing ancestors and generations of African villagers. Mama Nia gently explaining the meaning of the ancient traditions and the importance of preserving their heritage. Kaito listening carefully with tears of understanding in his eyes. Warm golden firelight illuminating their faces. African villagers walking together across golden grasslands toward their peaceful village at sunset. Elders, parents and children, reunited and wearing beautiful traditional African clothing. Kaito walking beside Mama Nia near the front of the group. Enormous, mysterious mountain towering behind them. Years later, Kaito is now a young adult African storyteller, sitting beneath the same gigantic ancient tree at sunset, surrounded by fascinated African children listening closely to his story. Elderly villagers smiling proudly nearby. Traditional village houses visible behind them. A warm fire glowing beside the group. Kaito wearing elegant traditional African clothing and handmade bead accessories. Strong intergenerational cultural connection. Final shot of Ndalama, beneath a magnificent African sunset. The gigantic ancient tree dominating the foreground. Silhouettes of villagers gathered together beneath its branches. Children and elders united. Traditional village homes glowing softly in the evening light. The distant, mysterious mountain glowing gently beneath the colorful sunset sky. Peaceful grasslands stretching toward the horizon. Atmosphere of hope, heritage, unity, and cultural pride. Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, remember, culture is more than clothing. Tradition is more than a ceremony. And history is more than something written in a book. They are the stories that tell us where we came from. If you enjoyed this African mystery story, subscribe to M&J African Story Hub for more fascinating African stories, traditions, kingdoms, weddings, legends, and cultural mysteries. And tell us in the comments,